Today, we're flying on Spain's biggest and presumably worst airline. Vueling operates an all-Airbus fleet and is the biggest airline in Spain fleet-wise. Only 119 aircraft in total, but that beats the flag carrier Iberia's mainline fleet of 88. Much like other ultra-low-cost no-frill airlines, the reputation of Vueling isn't pretty. Let's see what they got. Very poor standards, a hop-on, hop-off bus is more comfortable, deeply disappointing experience as a young solo traveler, felt humiliated and ignored. Yeah, been there buddy. Not fun. Ranked the third worst airline in the world? Okay, maybe a little extreme there. Or is it? Alright, let's see for ourselves. The plan today is to take one of their 19 A321s from Barcelona, where we left off on Level Airlines last time, up to Paris Orly. So, do these passengers just not know how no-frills, low-cost airlines work? Or are they really that awful? What's going on, guys? Casey Flower here. Let's go take one of the worst airlines in Europe and see how bad they can be. Let's go check in. We'll check into our flight through the airline app, and it's pretty standard for an international flight. After telling them that we aren't carrying any booms, we'll enter our travel documentation information, which is interesting because we're only traveling within the EU. Whatever. After that, we'll get another chance to change seats, bags, and I am going to get the carry-on just because I don't trust my thick travel backpack as the free personal item. We're also not going to get fast track. I'll save that $17. Anyway, after that, the boarding pass is touched down and we're ready to go. We are at the boarding gate for the Airbus 321 up to Orly. The inbound aircraft got delayed a good 25 minutes, so our boarding time is also delayed 25 minutes. So everyone is lining up at the time the boarding was supposed to be at 2:40, and boarding is not at that time anymore because the inbound got in 20 minutes late, and that boarding time never got updated from its original time. So all the gate lights are just standing there waiting to board, when in reality everyone's still getting off. But yeah, we are gonna be boarding here in the next about 10-20 minutes on the aircraft to Orly. They are now offloading bags and just finishing offloading the last of the passengers from the inbound flight. So they'll just quickly clean the aircraft out and they'll be ready to get us on there. Echo Charlie November Lima Yankee will be the 10-year-old A321 up to Orly this afternoon, and she was delivered brand new to Air Berlin in August of 2015 as Delta Alpha Bravo Charlie Romeo, then to Nikki in October of 2017 as Oscar Echo Lima Charlie Romeo, followed by Anisek Leftfat in June of 2018. Then Level, funny enough, in July of 2018 with that same registration, and then finally to Vueling in November of 2020 with that same registration it has now. I made the quick walk on to seat 7F. We got a width of 18 inches and a very typical ultra low cost carrier pitch of 29 inches. 1 point on my seat to the same point on the seat in front of me. We are boarded on the Vueling Airbus up to Paris. First impressions on the seat so far? Yeah, it's pretty standard for a European ultra low cost carrier. Not great pitch. We got about 29 inches of pitch down there for legroom. 1 point on my seat to the same point on the seat in front of me. So pitch isn't great, but it is what it is. The thickness and cushioning isn't great, but for now it's holding up. We got the ad on the seat back, respectfully. Gotta love that. And the coat hook and a pretty decent sized tray table. We do have a menu in the seat back pocket, which we'll go ahead and flip through that once we get airborne, so we can see what we get in the duty-free snack, beverage, and meal service once we get airborne. Respectfully, all that's going to be by on board, as the no frills model suggests. But yeah, it is there, it exists, we'll flip through that. To my surprise, believe it or not, there was in-seat power. So I went down below my seat in the middle there to kind of film that segment actually to kind of show that nothing was there for in-seat power. But to my surprise, I look on the screen of my camera. In-seat power is completely present. It's not on. It's not working right now. I don't know how consistent it is throughout the airline fleet, but on this specific aircraft, it is there. But again, it's not on, so for now, don't depend on it working. So yeah, we're now just finishing up boarding, and I'll catch you guys once we get in the air, and we'll go ahead and see what it's all about. We lined up for 2-4 left for what was probably the world's shortest A321 takeoff roll. We are airborne out of Barcelona and on our way up to Orly. The cabin crew are just now getting ready to come through with their meal, snack, and drink cart. So we're going to go ahead and look through the menu for that here in a minute. But in the meantime, the in-seat power down there did come on, but it's only USB-A, which doesn't really help me because I have USB-C. So it's kind of lame that they tried to be hip and just put USB-A down there when it would have been a lot better if they were to just be more traditional and just put universal power down there so that anyone could plug in and charge their device. It's nice that it works down there. It's nice that we have in-seat power on here, but USB-A isn't very compatible with anybody. Unless if you have it, actually, then it helps you, but not to ask that down. But you know what, that's whatever. We do have Wi-Fi, apparently. They talked about having internet during the welcome announcements, during one of them. But when I went into my Wi-Fi settings here a bit ago, nothing came up. So I don't know what that's all about. So either it's not coming up anymore, or it quit working on the aircraft, or something like that. Which is kind of funny, because I think when I went into it on the ground, it did come up, but I didn't connect to it. So it also could be that we can only connect to it on the ground for some reason, and it only shows up on the ground, and it only works on the ground. But I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose. But yeah, that is what it is. I wasn't expecting there to be Wi-Fi anyway on here, let alone in-seat power, which, that's kind of cool. But yeah, bottom line is this goes for all the ultra low cost carriers. Don't expect there to be a internet, entertainment browser or whatever, or in-seat power. So bring your own device, download content on it, and bring a power bank like me. But yeah, that is what it is. So let's go ahead and look through that menu, flip through it, and see what we got for bites and gifts. Some of the sips, so coffee for 3, 3.50, and 4. We got snackies, so we got Oreos, Kit Kat, gummy bears, Biscoff. Promising. A whole ad for Biscoff down here. Wow, yeah. Whole Biscoff ad. So that's kind of cool. That Vueling has that Biscoff going for it. More snackies, muffins, if anything. Chips for 3.50. We got sodas for 3.50 and some alcohol for 5.50, 7, 8.50, and 8. More drink stuff. Wine, I would think. Alright. Yeah, meals, I guess. If you want a plant-based hamburger for 8, it's there. Margarita pizza for 8, baguette for 8, and a bit of a ham sandwich as well for 8. And you can add in a drink there for 11.50, make it a combo. But yeah, that's what we got for meals. Not much, but it's there. They look okay. Yeah, more snacks. They're advertising. Alright, yeah. And then duty free. We're actually just now coming through with that duty free cart right now. So a bunch of bar and board fragrances that are, you know, practically endless here. We got sunglasses we can get for 30. Okay, yeah, not all fragrances. Watch, if that's your thing. Universal power outlet. I was just talking about not having that. They do have it in the duty free apparently, but just not built into the aircraft. And some knockoff AirPods, if that's your thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole Vueling cart services up here in a nutshell. I'm still not sure about the Wi-Fi situation, but I can just do some research on that and do a memo on that later in the video, so that's no big deal. But in the meantime, not really much else to report, so just look outside, enjoy the scenery, sit back, relax, and I'll catch you guys when we get closer to our top of descent into Orly. Alrighty, and not too long after the duty-free cart, the vertical speed is decreasing, the engines are spewing back, and we're starting our descent down into Paris. I'll use just the flight time on the way in to rate the airline using my chain or original rating system. I call it the Raleigh rating scale, very creatively named because my first name is Raleigh. If you're new here, I use this scale at the end of every one of my airline reviews to rate the airline to see how it did. I use 6 different categories to see how well the airline did at each of the 6. But if you're not new here, good job. You made it this far. How do you think Vueling did? Let me know in the comments. Would you fly him? But yeah, on the rest of the way in on the descent, landing, and taxi, let's go see how Vueling did today. The service was a 10 out of 10, as they were very thorough, yet quick and efficient with both snack cart and duty free. I had trouble finding a space for my bag in the overheads closer to my seat, but they were able to help me find a spot for it and tuck my backpack in no problem. They were also relaxed and welcoming, and did the best they could to get us out as quick as they could after the late inbound arrived. The cleanliness was a 10 out of 10, as there was nothing too major that stood out. The harder I looked, I was able to find some dirt, but honestly, who cares? The Wi-Fi was a 5 out of 10, as I could not get the network to show up after we got airborne, so don't rely on it working. After some research though, I can tell you that it only covers flights over Central and Western Europe mainland. According to the Airways Guide website, there are different plans. Text messaging for €3, internet browsing and streaming for just an hour for $5.99, and browsing and streaming for the whole flight for just 2 more, $7.99. It is nice to have if you can get it working, but unfortunately, my bad luck just had me disconnected. The food was a 9 out of 10, as despite not actually trying anything, their photos looked okay. There were a lot of options for drinks, smaller snacks, and an okay selection for the larger snacks to serve as meals. All the beverages and snacks I feel like were appropriately priced, but the larger things not so much. Not worth buying or trying, but I am going to give bonus points for the Biscoff. The entertainment was a 7 out of 10, as I'll give them an A for effort. We did have the in-seat power on this aircraft, but it was only USB-A, and not only has the possibility of not working, but also not even being present. The Wi-Fi is also nice to have when it works, but I couldn't even get the network to show up for me, let alone connect if I were to theoretically purchase a plan. Best case scenario, the airline does provide entertainment to keep us busy, but it's all bring your own device, and a seatback IFE is out of the question. The seat was a 6 out of 10, as the legroom, thickness and cushioning didn't end up being that much of an issue for me. It may grow to be a bigger problem on longer flights depending on who you are, but I was fine with the seat's dimensions and structure. The first 5 rows have a few more inches of legroom if that's what you need. The in-seat power was a surprise, and it is nice that it could actually work, but I couldn't use it. Universal power would have been the better way to go to make it more accessible for anyone. There is also an ad photo in the place of a backseat IFE, so the overall rating for the airline is going to be a 7.8 out of 10. Have a good one. Have a good one. Alright, made it to my little one-person hotel room by Orly, but it's actually a room with a view. If you look outside there, there's a British Airways Concorde static. How cool is that? But yeah, we are here at the hotel room in Orly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my review on Vueling as much as I did on the flight. My final thoughts on the airline? Yeah, it was what it was. Honestly, no different than Ryanair, EasyJet, Frontier, Spirit, Allegiant, whatever. It was kind of cool seeing the working NC Power USB-A. It did end up working once we got to cruise. But yeah, despite it not working for me, because I didn't have USB-A. But yeah, it is cool to see that there, as well as the Wi-Fi, which also didn't work for me. But it is cool that it does exist with Vueling. But yeah, it was alright for what it was. Very, very good. 8 out of 10. Pretty good. But yeah, I will fly out first thing tomorrow morning on the next airline to the next airport. I know what that is. I know where we're going. But you guys gotta wait around and see for that. not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. So I look forward to bringing you guys then on the next adventure for that airline. Bye for now.